Okay, thank you.
Right, great. Thanks everyone. So thank you very much for attending this traffic and highways meeting. And again, apologies, there's been a number of sort of missed meetings. So I think this one we can use as a bit of a hard reset for a number of items on the agenda and moving things forward. But and again, there's few of us here, so you know, I don't want to stand too much on ceremonies. So let's just keep this open and let's just go through the items. So let me quickly go through the points here. So this is the agenda. Okay. I'm sorry, I branched my back, so I'm very spontaneous. So apologies in advance for any mistakes. Okay, so let me go through the agenda of today. So I do ask that all mobile phones are switched on silent. I'm just checking my own. That's silent mode on. For the duration of the meeting, and a reminder to all in attendance of the fire safety regulations for the venue of the meeting. So we run out of that minute through the fire and go into the car park. Right, so the next point on the agenda is recording and filming of the meeting. So the council permits the filming and recording of photography, public meetings standing order 3A. By attending the meeting, you are consenting to be filmed and recorded unless you notify the park in advance you do not wish to leave. All present to be asked if they have any intention of recording, filming, or part of the meeting. Does anybody have any intention of filming, recording, or part of the meeting? Lots of names around the room. Okay, thank you. Right, so TH17, apologies for absence and declarations of interest.
We have Councillor Elvin and Councillor Crawzak, who both apologise.
Okay, thank you. So Ken and Joanna. Excellent. Any declarations of interest before we move on?
Well, on the willow safety barrier, I know some of the residents affected by that.
Yeah,
I suppose an interest.
we all know lots of it. We all know all of our residents have a number of residents. Yes. No, that's good point. Apologies, my eyes are not straight up. Should we get you a Dorset's in the naughty corner? Trip over there. Let's go and join the public gallery or just sorry, but you see the black and white head, which is still very nice. That's a good comment. You shot it enough. Okay, that's fine. Great. Okay. Right. So the past request council review and update the declaration of interest funds. Okay. You've done that. So I guess because let's maybe just go around and do a quick set of introductions because it wasn't actually written in the agenda here, just so that we know each other, because I think there are some new faces. So I'm Suzanne, of course, I'm chairing the meeting and I'm on the Bray Parish Council, also a borough councillor as well. Barbara, do you want to introduce?
Barbara Frame from Oak Africa, the Oakley Green Firefield Community Association Limited.
These are just those, yes. John?
Yeah, John Davey, Deputy Clerk in the meeting.
Thank you. Steve?
I'm Steve Eggington. I've just been months ago opted onto the parish council and I'm interested in joining this committee.
I'm Angela Bowler, a long-term resident of both Bray and Hollyport, and I'm here because of my interest in the road situations, very much so from the Ascot Road.
Thank you.
Robbie Nelson spent many happy years on the Bray neighbourhood plan, but I'm here in the capacity of being the Hollyport Road coordinator or speedwalk.
Excellent. Thanks.
My name is Rebecca Neal. I'm councillor by board.
Thank you. Nick?
Nick Palingo, I'm the Deadworth Water Councillor.
Bob Tavern, I represented Hollyport.
There'll be a test later. Okay, great, thanks everyone. Okay, so TH14 to approve the minutes of meeting held on the 19th of June, time ago, which was the last meeting. So has everyone read the minutes of the 19th of June? Is everybody okay with the minutes?
I'm just going to abstain.
Yes, no, that's fine. Have we agreed the minutes with fair representation of the 19th of June? Okay, great, lots of happy faces and lots that I will sign the minutes. Excellent. Thanks, John. Okay. Great, so PH15, representation and questions from members of the public. So we typically designate 3 minutes for members of the public to talk. But they say, I mean, there's 2 of us here, and it's been a long time since we've had the last meeting. I know you, members of the public, have Angela and Bobby and Barbara and Steve, company member of the public, have spent time to come here. So I'm feeling that you have enough time to put your points across if you've got something written down. So I think now's a good time. Given the fact we are going to be talking about the Ascot Road community speed watch, and there are some points on the agenda to talk that through, I'm happy if you want to talk now, or whether you want to speak when we talk about those specific points later on in the meeting. It's entirely up to you.
As I'm Ascot Road, mainly is where the Vice Harold is. I, having seen the agenda, I felt it might be better afterwards because there might be things covered.
Okay, so we can cover your points then.
But how does that sound?
Yeah, I'm more than that one.
Yeah.
And Roger, do you want to talk now or talk when we talk about community speed watch, or
I enjoy the speed watch.
if there's anything else, obviously, yeah, feel free. Great. Okay, let's do it that way. Thank you both.
So are we going to have a councillors forum at the end?
Is that timetabled?
No,
We can add more in. More than happy. Councillors forum, so maybe if you've got something to say. Yeah. Yeah, okay, let's add that to the end. Anything we haven't covered, we can add so. Okay, good. Right, so update for the actions from the previous meeting. As we said, the previous meeting was on the 19th of June, which seems like 1,000 years away. So are there updates? There was one update I was going to ask about. So the clerk was going to write to the Royal Borough requesting the 20-mile speed limit on Holyport Street and also Hibbert Road. Do we know if that occurred?
No, what happened, we tried to communicate with the officers, and the most recent email that came back basically said, in Tim's absence, I thought I'd let you know that the traffic calming on Holyport Street, both the main road and the sections past the old Bupa building, would not be considered for traffic calming.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, these decisions are data driven, and the last speed survey showed 85% speed of 16 miles per hour. And there's only been one collision ever recorded, which was back in 2004. And this was not speed related. So that's the response from the borough.
Can I just say something about that? Because I live down Holyport Street. The speed watch down Holyport Street was done a long time ago. But further on from hence be working with Roger and others, I'm not sure people are aware that one of the ducks got killed outside the ponds on just outside Holyport Street, which has galvanised residents to try and do something about speeding, because I appreciate it's data driven. So we're trying to do a Holyport Green speed watch, community speed watch. We've got sort of 8 residents interested. Oh, and yes, brilliant, Angela, thank you. You know, the idea we all get trained up. One's already trained up, raring to go. Bob's joining us as well, because obviously we're trying to do it all around the green area, including Ascot Road. So that will drive data, because I appreciate they say there's not high speeds, but I've also got the data from the last speed, and there were people going high.
Sure.
So hopefully we can give some real input then going forward.
Excellent. That's really good news.
Just to add to that, mate, I mean, not just the speed, it's the reality of the actual road, where it's located, and the volume of traffic that now uses it, particularly now that we've got so many other things going on, and traffic constantly uses Ascot Road, and it turns down front of the lodge without any thought of what's beyond it, because, I mean, it almost lends itself to being pedestrianised, let alone traffic use. So if something needs to be done about it, but I know Angela wants to talk about it in due course.
Yeah, that's great. No, it's really good. And I mean, I to John's point, email back from the borough, and as we always say, data drives decisions, you know. And
That's unrealistic.
I know, but also
Logically, you
data,
look at it, you think it's got to be different to what it is, irrespective of what
yeah.
so-called data says, you know,
No,
it's bad.
but everything helps, you know, that's what I did with the 8008 on the 30 miles an hour, you know, that, so things can change, but you need to have the empirical data to help drive the change. And it can be part of the solution to help drive the change. That's why I'm really encouraged that people are getting involved with community speed watch. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Could I make a request then? I got the last data from the last speed watch the council did. Could I ask that we ask the council to do a speed monitor down the street?
Yeah.
Because then they can have that data updated,
Mm.
because I don't think they've, a lot of people, they want.
When was the last?
Yeah.
I think it was 2014.
Oh, wow. God.
No, and there was one in 2018.
Yeah,
I've got one in
You've got it as
2018.
well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last time, of course, yeah, isn't it?
Well, it's still on there, but anyway,
Sorry, I shouldn't have interjected.
no, that's fine.
Another time.
No, no, it's just-
Yes, it's a long time ago, because I got the
Yeah.
last data.
Chair, I mean, this was there was an action from the last meeting. Should these ideas come in under the actual points, some of the agenda items like under 20 for the speed watch?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yes, so, but as I say, you know, there's thousands of people at meetings online. If we're having a discussion about things and ideas are coming up and actions, let's just action them. And if they swap in other areas, that's fine. But yeah, I agree. So can we get the clerk to write to the Royal Borough to see if they will do a new Royal Borough speed, well, is it called speed watch down there?
I think it's a speed, it's basically their version of speed. So what it does, it captures all the data.
It's the, what do they call
No,
it?
it's not the line. No, it's not the line.
I might
It
be on the
actually
line.
Okay.
It's a camera down Hollywood Street.
Okay, to get the camera.
Yeah,
So
Well,
that
they-
BWMC, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or just to capture the speed on Hollywood, so more up to date.
so many people use the street.
Yeah, because they should capture
On
that.
Hollyport Street?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It actually, you'd be actually really surprised at how much cars, because it's a dead end street, I mean, obviously exasperated, but actually there's 40 houses down there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and the real tennis court.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
I can't get that.
And the park, so. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
a lot
there's lots of traffic, yeah, I know, I was driving up there the other day as I found out. Yeah, that'd be good,
Thank
so
you.
we can do that. And the other action was 30 miles an hour on Hibbert Road from the previous meeting. Was the action was the clerk to write about that as well?
no, the only note that I've got around Hibbert Road is relating to the parking and the parking spots.
Which is working well, yeah.
Okay,
To have an update on that, which is going to be item 26.
can you just pass me the minutes I signed from the last meeting, just so I can just double check that I was like, when I just signed and then the 4th of June. Great, can you pass me the minutes? Thank you. Good.
Speed mention.
There was an action. Going with the future. There was an action to do this. What did that mean? Maybe it's the 26th of February, it's the previous meeting. I just don't want to miss any of these actions because it's been a while since the 26th of February. Few minutes. It's Hibbert Road is the other issue on speeding. The 26th of February. Village Fair. Yeah, after the discussion, it's agreed the same would be requested for Hibbert Road. So 26th of February was an action on the clerk to ask the same of RBWM for 20 mile an hour. So can we get that action, because that hasn't happened since the 26th of February. I know Dawn was deputising at that meeting for Brian, Dawn's left, Brian's left. So if we can pick that one up, John.
Yeah.
So it's 26th of February, right to RBWS for 20 mile an hour road as well, that's great. So it's just picking up one of those previous actions. Thanks. Okay, right, I'm just going to do I think that was all those actions. Okay, right, just carrying on.
Yeah, you were done wrestling.
Yes, that's fine, that's fine.
You,
Okay.
you just mentioned Village Gateway there, because I had an action point against that.
Ah,
You
okay.
said you were gonna-
Yes, yes, okay. Because that wasn't on the list of the, it was from. Okay, so we'll cover that from. Okay, do you want to talk about Village Gateways now? Because I know that wasn't.
No, I thought you.
Not on the
No,
agenda.
it's not on the agenda. We took it off the agenda because you said to take it off.
Yes, yeah, because there's nothing that's been moved on, so we can follow that up at the end. Okay, let's move on then. So just capture those items. Right, so I think we're on H 17, review of expenditure up to the 30th of December 2024.
So, do you want to read that out? Or which one?
Okay, do you want to read it out?
Yeah, sure.
Probably check later.
Essentially, what we have are the traffic control SIDs. So the budget was 3,000. But the spend was 8,000 because we had 2 stolen, and therefore we got that money back. Yeah, so we basically got £2,100 in the budget then. Air quality monitoring, the budget was 2,250, and we're actually 2,175, so we're £74.91 in credit. And that's it.
Right.
So
What spare cash have we got to do anything with?
Well, it's the end of the year now, isn't it? So we start with.
Yeah, start again.
So could I ask that the councillors have a copy of that, please?
Yeah. We can add that to the paperwork. So I mean, I'm going to recommend going forward that we obviously continue with the air quality monitoring, the 13 sites that we've got. I mean, if there are additional sites, because I know we put Harvest Hill on a while ago, didn't we? There's other sites across the borough of the parish that we think should have, if there's sites that are there that are no longer needed, I think we should start looking at that as a committee.
Are we going to have a discussion about that?
Well, we have got air quality on the list, so we can talk about them.
So I would like to ask when that on, not take anything, now get hold of those again, please.
Okay, good. Okay, so TH18 Clark's report.
Yeah. So I've asked for an update on Harvest Hill a number of times, but to no avail as yet. The lorry watch update. So locally, this came through from the.
So this is specifically a concentration on 30 miles an hour, just so that we're clear. What have you
Right.
asked for, John?
I asked for an update on that information, and there was no update on the website.
Okay, for the 30 mile an hour
For the 30,
concentration,
yeah.
just so we're clear what's being asked for. Okay, thanks.
So we've had that. We've just talked about the Hollyport Street calming, as mentioned by the RBWM. Lorry watch update locally. Did this come in from you, Chair? It says locally, I've arranged for accounts to be done over a number of sessions. So the lorry watch update, or is that the police saying that? It's so long ago. I did ask
That looks like it's written by the,
the police.
yeah, probably the
Yeah.
police. Yeah, I think it was.
So locally, I arranged for accounts to be done over a number of sessions, much like the community speed watch, to establish which businesses were using the roads so that we could contact them directly to discuss the issue. Unfortunately, the volunteer that was completing this work had a major health issue, heart-related, fortunately not while carrying out the task. However, this meant that many of the sessions were not completed, and he has since had to retire due to his ill health. On the session that did complete, it was reported back to me that there was some diversion work on the Drift Road due to a sinkhole, which meant some vehicles ended up on the roads through no fault of their own. On this occasion, the idea was not as successful as I had hoped, but it is something that we can try and return to in the new year. I also now have an additional police officer on my team that has come from roads policing. So this will give us increased opportunities to progress and work around this. Yep, so that's that. Speed indicator devices were stolen, then replaced with incorrect machines. So they've been swapped out, and so things are progressing there, and we should have those back up shortly.
Well, they've been put up, but.
Yeah, they have they? Yes. Tide Barn Drive parking. Some time ago, you mentioned in an email that you had been approached by residents of TBD re the parking problems. Our last attempt at exceeding double yellow lines failed due to the lack of residents' responses. I subsequently realised that the postcodes, that's Councillor Elvin's one, I gave to Dawn only, covered odd numbers. So my suggestion to the meeting would be to do the exercise again, and I would give the office numbers to the most affected houses. Again, from Councillor Elvin, A308 missing link. The fact that we have a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit retained on the A308 from Braywick to the Hollyport mini roundabout makes no sense. And we, BPC, should lobby RBWM to get the limit reduced to 30 miles an hour. An RBWM councillor recently informed me that the mini roundabout junction has been under video surveillance for some time as part of the new roundabout data gathering. And the problem was vehicles not stopping at the roundabout and shooting across the junction. If this is the case, a 30-mile-an-hour limit would encourage vehicles to approach the junction at a lower speed, so giving more time for drivers to see the roundabout and negotiate it safely. An added bonus of the 30-mile-per-hour limit will be cheaper on zebra crossing in that section of the route if required. I know Priors Way residents have lobbied for one in the past. Zebras on a 40-mile-an-hour require traffic cameras controlling, adding tens of thousands of pounds to the cost. On the subject of Hollyport Roundabout, there is a meeting with Councillor Hill and unnamed RBWN councillor scheduled for the Tuesday, the 8th of April at the Town Hall. This is in response to two BPC letters agreed at Main Council. Councillor Walters raised the matter and will attend the meeting. I have informed John that I could attend if required. However, if anybody at the meeting would like to attend in my place, I would happily stand down, as I do not think BPC should attend the meeting mob-handed. There we go. That's it.
It's more like Ken's message rather than a clerk's report, but,
We can get a copy of that again.
yeah.
It's the clerk's report, so I'm not sure it's something that gets copied. It's something that I use as a verbatim speech. Simply, I'll check with the clerk if that's appropriate.
Please.
I'll check with the clerk if that's appropriate.
Can we have any further discussion about that, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, again, some of those points in there are listed on the next items to be discussed, so if you can bring them up again, if we don't cover them on time with the agenda, that would be helpful. So, okay, thanks for that, John. Right, TH19 to receive reports from the community groups. We've got one here. Behind me.
I'll be honest, I haven't got much to report because we haven't done any lorry washes. The weather's now cleared, so we will try to get some done. I have the usual beefs though, around about here at the Ivy Crossroads. It's still, I'm afraid it's still gone through, but that must be redone. We haven't really there. The junction is so dangerous, so difficult.
Yeah.
And as you know, my real concern at the moment is the new bus timetables. Yep. Which suddenly don't get people from Bray and Oakley Green and Fifield into Windsor before 9 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
It's 16 lessons to do. So I know you're aware of it, Suzanne.
Yes, yeah, no, I was totally, yeah. So the roundabout, I mean, again, I don't want to say data drives decisions, but you know, it's every hit, every near miss needs to be reported to the police, and that will help drive something.
The trouble is they don't, unless an ambulance is called.
I know,
they don't
nothing
record it, and there's been so many where there wasn't an ambulance.
Yeah.
And they're just,
yeah,
it's just not recorded.
I mean, I'm doing more surgeries. I'm going to get another surgery here, so thanks for starting repeat police here. So raise it with the police again, because they'll be obviously one of the stakeholders to change it on the road system. I could raise it again with Councillor Hill at the borough, see what, again, the budget is the budget, and there's not a lot of money in the pot and roundabouts,
It's
yeah,
expensive, so they'd rather
yeah, but like,
not look at it.
dare I say, other roundabouts, there's external funding from government, central government if needed, but that was more of an upgrade than a brand new roundabout, so. But let me talk to Councillor Hill about that and come to the police meeting when I hear back from Matt about that. Buses, so I've gone back to the transport manager. So the point that, so you've probably seen there was a bus consultation about buses in the whole borough. And there's going to be different, I won't go over everything, they're all inside out, but there's going to be different buses. The 16 bus, which is the one that used to go around the houses in Fifield and then across the Bray, is now going to go up and down nearly 308. And there's going to be a new bus, essentially a 37 and the 37B, which will be doing the legs on Fifield and Bray. From the looks of it, looks like there's going to be more buses and there's going to be later services on the Saturdays and things like that. And so I'd say it starts on the 6th of April, so that's when the new timetable comes into being. I think it's up on the libraries, it's on the RBW website. Now, with the point that Barbara's making, is that there was the 16 bus that used to come through Fifield that used to be quite full and people used to get on. It used to pick up 7:30. So you pick up here and used to get into Windsor just before 9 o'clock, so people could get on it to get to work, to be in their office or place of work for 9 o'clock. Now, if you look at the new timetable that's coming forward, the first bus is 7:33 that gets in just before 8 o'clock into Windsor, which is a bit early. The following bus gets in just after 9 o'clock. So I've written to him, right? I've written to him about this and he's going to look at it. So he hasn't said no. He says it's a bit late because the consultation came out and I know lots of people missed the consultation. The head teacher at Hollywood School, I talked to him about it as well. So I'm going back to see if we can do anything about getting.
I mean, I know certainly at least half a dozen people that will now be resorting to their cars to
We
get to
know
work, which is
that's
just
not
what we're
good.
trying to avoid.
Exactly. So he's looking at it. So I'll let you know if I hear back from him.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Great. Anything more from your side?
No, nothing to report really.
Report.
Well, yeah,
I know you want to lorry everything. The usual suspects. Yeah. Okay.
The usual list.
Yeah, no, thanks, Barbara. Okay, but I'm keen to help with any speed watch down here in place as well. So if we can get that going on. Yeah. Okay, let's take that one. Okay, thank you. So there's no other community groups here, is there? So, okay, let's move on. Okay, TH021 to receive an update on the speed indicator devices. So we've heard from John that the super duper new SIDS got stolen.
Sorry, Chair. You've got number 20. We've sort of touched on it around Robbins in bits and pieces, but have you
Oh yes, so I've missed 20, so I've skipped one. So yeah, 20, so is an update from the Community Speed Watch Group. Okay, so I did get an update from Claire. I've got a couple of points here. So as you know, Claire Studadams has been kind of overseeing the Bray sort of umbrella group and the Bray group, and underneath that group, if you join the Bray group, you're part of the Bray Community Speed Watch Group. Now I know Money Road Green have got a separate group of setting runs, which is separate. Hollywood College is setting up a group. I'm working with them at the moment. They've got about 4 people, I think, signed up and doing the training, which is going to do with Hollywood College because of the speeding on that road. And I'm getting them to hopefully be part of the overall Bray group as well. So Claire did a community speed watch session a few weeks ago on Money Road Green, and there were 6 cars reported. I'll read through this on Money Road Green. The loan kit for Holyport has been extended by 6 months by Thames Valley Police, and it's not being used due to Holyport roundabout works, but additional sites across Holyport, specifically Ascot Road, to be targeted. So I'm sure we'll talk about that as well. And Thames Valley Police have recently taken delivery of 2 speed radar guns, which will be used in operations across the parish. So that's really good news that these will maybe get those involved in Holyport Street as well, if they can be more visible and Ascot Road. These have been recalibrated and are fully operational. They're in the process of arranging training for local officers, and the plan is to have officers actively enforcing speed limits in the local area. So that's good news that they're going to be doing that. And I'm in touch. I'm talking to the police this morning.
When they say officers, what do you mean?
police officers.
Police officers.
Yes.
Not public.
Police officers, yeah. So this is Thames Valley Police. So I put a request for more volunteers to go into the next parish newsletter, so I'm hoping that's going to happen. I got an email from Lee Turner, who's the Community Speedwatch Coordinator from Thames Valley Police, because there was a question, remember, about the letters being sent out. And I know the software is a bit flaky, doesn't tell you the letters have been sent out, but he's confirmed 45,000 plus letters have been sent out across. So these letters are being sent out. So hopefully that's going to keep the motivation going, that when people are doing this and, you know, speeding cars are reported, letters are being sent. He's given me assurances that they have been sent. So that's from him. And then I'll send this across again. We can put it in the minutes, the link for Community Speedwatch. And again, if people can join the Bray Parish Speedwatch group, that would be good, because then it's not so fragmented. I mean, individual groups can be set up, but to keep a view of the parish-wide speeding, because often people go from Holyport into Bray across the way, you know, so it would be good to keep it under one umbrella. And also I'll put the link for Thames Valley Police, because again, people are asking me this, but Thames Valley Police put up statistics across the borough of speeding. So again, I'm putting that link. I'll send it to John to put in the minutes as well, so people have that link. So that's the report from Claire. So I know we need more people, we need more volunteers, we need more people operational, and we need, you know, and I know it's volunteer led, so I know people lead busy lives and this is done out of the goodness of people's heart. But again, the more people we can get involved, the better. As I say, it's great, we've got to have Collingport Street, we're going to have the college, we've got Bray. I know Steve's joined the Bray group as well, so there's going to be another speed watch in a couple of weeks that people will be invited to. So
Can I ask about letters?
yes.
Because, I mean, it's all very well saying that letters have been sent out in that quantity, but am I not right in thinking there's a first, a second,
Yeah,
and a third
and then the
letter?
knock on the door.
But what evidence have we actually, hard evidence have we got? I mean,
Please to tell me.
are these
What can I
letters the
say?
first one, the second ones, the third ones? And because it does undermine the operation if we're not convinced and not happy they're actually.
Well, the police have confirmed they're sending them out. So what can
When
I
I
do?
spoke to Roger, I know, I understand that, but I mean, when we've had conversations, some of the indications are that they're not actually being sent out on
So what
some
evidence
test
have you got?
cases.
If you've got evidence, I'll take it back to Lee Turner, who's confirmed that all these letters are being sent out, 1, 2, 3, and a knock at the door, which is the process.
Well, and maybe that Roger, talk a little bit more about that if he has got some additional information, but I just got it was sort of intimated that that wasn't actually happening, which is very disappointing to say the least.
They're intimated by who?
Well, when Roger and I spoke, he did have certain feedback that that wasn't actually happening.
So, Roger, I mean, whether in this meeting or outside, send me the evidence that you've got that this isn't happening, and I'll take it back to the Thames Valley Police, to Lee or his, you know, to the supervising constable, and I'll gladly take it forward, because, you know, obviously people are doing this and it's taking time out of, you know, we need to make
Well,
sure
they're
this
not
is
doing
happening.
it. They've stopped. Because of the fact that we believe that letters aren't being sent. My group don't want to do it because
Right.
letters are not being sent. We don't believe. I mean, if you look at the, sorry, do you want me to talk about it now?
Yeah, I mean, this is the point. of
They turn
community speed watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so you don't believe, so I mean, I'm sorry to question you, because I don't actually believe, obviously, police are evidence driven. They're telling me that 45,000 plus letters are being sent out and the process is being followed. If you can give me evidence that, you know, you caught track, you know, index number X, Y, and Z, and the letter wasn't sent or
Well, you need to always do some tests with local residents.
Yeah.
And see whether they actually get your letters.
You can do a speeding. 90 miles an hour down.
Give me 2 minutes to run through what I've got here, and
Yes,
then let's have a discussion.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
And if I go over 3 minutes, please.
No,
Please.
it's fine.
Stop
It's
me.
my discretion, so go ahead, Roger.
Okay, so. There's bits of paper we need. Right here. Yeah, on the website, there is a column that says this car was doing that speed, going this direction, and there's a column headed letters sent,
Yeah, and that, we know the software is not working correctly.
and it always says no letter sent.
Yeah.
So I understand that the software is not working. So yes, Keith Turnham has told you. I've spoken to a neighbouring district, nothing to do with Bray Parish, and they have the same belief, the same suspicion, let's put it that way, and their volunteers are.
Okay.
So one of the neighbouring districts added their own car on the bottom of a list of speeders.
Right.
Never received that. And they now have 3 instances where that's been done, never received a letter. Raised it with Lee Turnham, and the CSW operator who put the car on them was suspended for 6 months.
Right.
That's not the way to help
No.
a voluntary scheme. And that makes me further suspicious of whether Lee Turnham, I mean, if you ask Lee Turnham 6 times whether the letters are being sent, he's going to say yes 6 times. The local district then sent a letter to the Police and Crime Commissioner, and the Police and Crime Commissioner said they have been assured that the letters are being sent. Information from both the CSW News page was sent out a few months ago, indicates that under the old system, letters take approximately 10 minutes to produce. Okay. And from the Police and Crime Commissioner, it appears that there are 8 volunteers helping to produce these letters. Now, the arithmetic says 40,000 letters divided by 8, so each volunteer is doing 5,000 letters a year, 10 minutes a letter, 825 hours divided by 52, that's each volunteer is working 16 hours a week to produce these letters. That smells a little bit to me. However,
So, sorry, I might have missed that. The volunteers don't send out the letters, or do they?
yes, the volunteers work at Thames Valley
The
Police.
volunteers, not the Speedwatch volunteers. This is the.
No, this
Yes,
is
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, volunteers. Okay.
different volunteers.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, all
Yeah,
working
yeah.
presumably with Lee Turner.
Sure.
So that's where we are. There is a new system started from 1st of December, whereby they're using different software, and therefore is taking, it's a lot easier to send out the letters.
Yeah.
They have sent out letters, but the same newsletter suggests that the attorney is happy to send copies of what the letter is to us, but can we wait 3 months until they've had feedback from drivers? Feedback from the CSW. I have in front of me a redacted copy of one of the letters under the new system. Can you just bear with me and write down on your piece of paper 4 or 5 words that from the letter, and then I'll
It's all recorded, so.
talk us through it. Okay. This letter says that the person was recorded at a speed of 35 miles an hour. The speed indication device showed the vehicle's speed was sorry, it was 20 mile an hour.
Okay.
The vehicle's speed was in excess of 50% of the permitted speed limit. So the permitted speed limit is 20, 50% of the permitted speed limit is 10. So this letter says the vehicle speed was in excess of 10 miles an hour. It's nonsense, absolute nonsense. And this is going out to people
Right.
under the new system.
It's leading, isn't
So what would you like, thanks for sharing that, Roger. What would you ideally like to be done then?
Now we're on the new system. There is evidence that letters are being sent, but our guys need convincing. I obviously haven't shown them because they need convincing that the system of one letter being sent, two letters being sent, and third time it's a visit is going to happen. Because otherwise, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, so Lee, as you know, is the coordinator of Thames Valley.
Yes, he is.
So he's my go-to person. And he
I'd like to go to the office and see the copies of the 40,000, just to be honest.
Yes, yeah.
Otherwise, I have a big question mark over his.
Right.
But in terms of the clarity of the letter, that this is about 50% over the permitted, why did it say you were doing 35 miles an hour?
It does. It does on here.
Yeah.
There's a recorded speed 35, date, time, doesn't have the direction he was travelling on this particular road, which is another drawback on. There you go.
it? 20 miles an hour. So,
But it's a 25 mile. But the very fact that the first sentence of the letter in block cap in bold is
Let's just take an action to speed it back to the.
Yeah, I mean, I can go back to Lee, I can go, yeah.
and
I can go
the rest of it is waffle.
Yeah.
You know.
Can you share a copy of that letter with Suzanne so you can use that?
Yeah,
I-
absolutely.
I don't think I should because it's been given to me and it's redacted, but
sure.
bearing in mind what Lee did to somebody who put his own car on the bottom, 6 months suspension, you know?
Yeah, I don't want to get anyone into trouble. I mean,
Exactly.
the key thing is volunteering, the motivation and doing the right thing. And like to your point, Roger, we need to make sure, you know, I'm kind of a bit stuck between rock and a hard place because the only person I go to is Lee and he tells me things are happening and then you're saying that you think things may not be happening. So let me take an action to go back to him again. I'll go and meet with him. I talk to other people in Thames Valley Police, but they always point back to Lee when it comes to speed watch because that's his job, you know, in the police force. So because I don't want others to not be motivated to do this, you know, because you say it takes a lot of time and effort and, you know, we want to be doing the right thing and calming traffic down on our roads for all our residents.
Sorry.
You know, we're all here
But if
trying.
they read the letters, you know.
Yeah, and I'm being told the letters are being sent, but anyway,
Yeah.
I'll go back and have another
And he covers the
conversation.
whole area.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just our areas.
Yeah, it's also-
Obviously, another area, but also volunteers are hemorrhaging because
Yeah,
of that
yeah.
confidence in the system.
Yeah, I'll double check. I mean, it is, yeah, but I come back with an answer and yeah, it's not answered, but no, I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, so,
I mean, it would be good to see some of the historic letters.
yes, yeah.
Why not?
I think we had copies of the old letters, like the 1, 2, and there's a knock at the door.
Apologies, just as a, what would be, I think, have they got any stats? You know, you said they've sent out this many, so how many, what would be interesting to say, okay, how many times once, how many times twice?
They've got that.
It's
Okay.
Yeah.
Because once you've gone to the website, once you've done the training, you get access to a lot of this data that's there.
Right,
But you know, with Roger saying we don't get the letters, we don't see what's being
No,
sent out, and you know, there's that.
And that's-
Police are the only people that can do that. You know,
and that's
so-
right, because of
Yeah.
Judy, blah, blah, blah.
And all of that, yeah.
And so that's right, it shouldn't be, but, yeah, how do you reassure people?
Yeah.
I think, well, from my view, somebody standing there with in high vis with a speaker,
Yeah.
also is a bit of distraction.
Yeah. And really, the whole
That's
point.
But it's temporary.
Oh, yeah, totally, but you know, those people that drive past anyway are gonna do, will, you know, saying about,
But if they get a letter, then maybe they'll think, oh, this is where I am, okay.
they must have got some letters because of what happened. So I don't know,
Yeah, I'll look at it, but no, thanks for raising it, Roger. But yeah, I mean, the whole point with speed watch is it's educational, the sort of A's point, it's being visible, it's reminding people that the speed, you know, it's all of those points. And there's always going to be, you know, idiots, dare I say, on the road that you can never legislate for, but you know, for hopefully the majority of those, if we see something, we go, oh, actually I'm doing 32, I should be doing
Well,
30, you know.
fairness, we all treat by the speed
Yeah,
limit,
yeah.
and we have to admit it.
Yeah.
But if there's reminder, you just, oh gosh, you know, and you.
Yeah, and that's what speed watch helps. Yes.
I mean, obviously, quite a proportion of these cars are going to be from completely out of the area.
Yeah, and they don't know.
So, but presumably the process works nationally, does it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So a visit could still happen in Arbroath if the person was caught
Yeah,
speeding down
absolutely.
here.
Yeah,
Registration.
Yeah. absolutely, yeah. No, okay, so I'll yeah, sorry.
Sorry, there's one more thing.
Yeah.
You're talking about the actual mechanical machines. What's the position on the Sentinel Mark II that stands on a tripod?
It's here at the moment, in the
Yes.
office here, it's sitting here, so
There was a software problem with it, wasn't
there wasn't, there was more of a, so the people operating it, there was an issue that Claire had her knee replaced, so she wasn't around, and then the other person trained on it, has kind of stepped back from it, and then we had a load of work done to our house, so for safety reasons, it's now in this office, but we need to, as I said, part of this is really get it going again. So let me talk to Claire about that and what we can do to get that back up, because it's still in this office, isn't it, John? Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully that hasn't gone walkabouts.
But for the other people, you just found it on a tripod and don't bother pointing a gun, you don't have to record anything.
Yeah, it's done. Yes.
So you can run it with two people rather than.
Yes, which is good. Okay, yeah, so let me take an action on speed watch and then see what we can do about that. Did you want to add anything on speed watch, Angela? On community speed watch particularly?
Well,
No. Don't worry, you don't have to.
the only thing, the only thing I would say, because I'm listening to all the new stuff. So I've actually been on Speedwatch,
Yes,
worked with Matt,
Yeah.
and I've done it through 2016, 17, 18, 19, we hit the pandemic. And of course, it has changed since then. And the data is still available. But I'm now hearing lots of other things. What concerns me is there hasn't been much done on the Ascot Road, which has high volume.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm now going to get more information, but I've still got the data from all those years ago. And the average speed limit was anywhere between 50 and 55 miles per hour.
Yeah, yeah.
And sadly, when it hasn't decreased,
It's got worse.
it's got worse.
But I think, yeah, that historic data is really valuable, and I think as you know, you've given it to Matt and to the temporary police. I think, feeding it back to the police, because they're essentially the only people that can really enforce.
Yeah.
We can give them the data to give the evidence to show that through calibrated devices and trained volunteers, that there is an issue here, and that's great. But it's down to the police to actually enforce anything, so there's two sides of the same
I'll come to that later.
Yes, that's part of the challenge.
Yeah, because it's been requested many times that the actual police vehicle is present on the Ascot Road. That's been requested, I know recently with yourself.
Yes, yeah.
More importantly, it was requested on a regular basis through the parish council, through the clerk, because it then, when I was back in 2018, I think, November, December 2018, it was recorded that the speed would be looked at. It was, and since then, Moneyrow Green has had regular speed vehicles on there. The last one being June 24.
Yeah.
And when we asked, and I'd requested before that, and we asked the gentleman who was actually doing it, and he said, well, whoever did it, get me on there and we'll do the Ascot Road. Because that then is a big message
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the two police officers are now trained that have got the equipment. We could get them onto the Ascot Road. I'll go back and I'll request that because it's, you know, I speak with Matt a lot, and Matt Wingrove, and it's his team, which we can talk about in a minute as well. So, but yeah, I think having us like volunteers in high vis jackets with the equipment, but also having that police as well, there, I think reinforces it. But you're right. I mean, traffic is going up on the Ascot roads and people do speed around there. So,
But it's never changed,
No.
it's got worse.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the volumes have changed slightly
Mm.
because we don't have the traffic jams in the morning, which we had prior to the pandemic, 2020. But that's it.
System.
But what we need is the police.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let me take an action to
Thank
go
you.
back because these two officers that I've told have got all the calibrated devices, are
Brilliant.
operational.
I was
I'm going to
impressed when I heard that.
I was as well. So let me take that action. Okay.
Suzanne,
Yeah.
will I just give an update on what we've done as it's come under Community Watch?
Yeah, community speed watch. Yeah,
Yes.
Polyport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put me for a start.
Well, that's fine. That's excellent. So, last week, obviously, the pond is very important to Holyport residents, even also since the pandemic, because obviously people were walking down there and feeding the ducks, etc. And it is a very scenic part of Holyport. Unfortunately, last week or the week before, I think it's the week before actually, one of the ducks got run over. Basically, somebody obviously was just going too fast. I mean, how can you not see a duck walking in the middle of the
It's an
road?
Egyptian duck,
And
it's not
stop.
quite big.
Yes.
Yeah,
It was.
yeah.
Well, I can't work out which one it was
Oh.
because it's two Egyptian and two Canadian stuff. But I think whether or not it actually got another mate quite quickly, I don't know. But whatever it was, something got run over, and residents really upset about it. So from that, you know, people were saying about more signs, but you know, unfortunately, with those people who speed, it doesn't matter what signs you put up, it's not going to make a lot of difference. So I said that the only thing I can think of is community speed watch. So I've got potentially 8 volunteers, and it will be the Holyport Green group. It's not Holyport Street, it's Holyport Green, and it will cover Ascot Road and that junction, because that junction is dreadful. So we've got potentially 8, 9 people. We just get them all. One's trained up and one's joining our group because obviously you're at Ascot Road. So we're all, you know, so we can have a big enough group that we can mix and match and do that. That's the idea. Roger's kindly said include me in it. So that way we can make something better.
Yeah. That's really good news. So
Yes.
thanks today. That's
But at the moment, am I allowed to say something?
yeah, no, absolutely.
But at the moment, one of the main problems of the speeding, which sadly was what happened there, is most of those vehicles are going back up the Holyport Road. So those that are all speeding are actual locals.
They come down the green, don't they? So you all know, the official name of the road that goes by Holyport Lodge is called the Green, just to confuse everybody.
On the sat nav, it's Holyport Road, of course, that's what they like to call it.
Yeah.
But it is totally different. It's actually officially, those houses live on there, their address is the Green as the road. So they're all coming down there without stopping, coming, I mean, it's actually quite scary trying to get out of Holyport Street, but that's the
Yes.
side. But they are just hacking through and actually destroying the green at the same time because they're churning it all up.
Yeah.
So if we can get a group of people, the idea is if we all get together, there's enough of us, we can actually make a difference different times of the day
Yeah.
and just make it intermittent. So it's not the same group each time,
Yeah.
but hopefully we can do
I've
something.
got some data if you want it.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. I know.
But I've literally got the data, I can speak because I know it's being
Yes,
recorded. So literally where we are, on the Ascot Road, I happen to go in and our dining room overlooks the junction where you go down past Holyport Lodge. And I went in to chat to my husband because he works from home. From there I went, that's a lot of cars turning down. So me started to count them. And this is just after 5 o'clock at night. And within not that many minutes, I got to 30 something. And within 15 minutes, it was over 100 vehicles had turned off. Whereas prior to the Holyport roadworks and everything going up on the Windsor Road, you had the odd car going
Yes,
down. But what you've now got is all the vehicles who live off the Holyport Road and those that then will cross and go across the Money Road Ring because they're avoiding the Windsor Road side. 5 o'clock at night, 100 vehicles turned in.
It's huge.
I wrote
And,
to Jeff Hill about this.
Oh,
and he did, that's why I wasn't sure whether
Yes,
to mention,
yeah.
but I actually did the data because I'm used to doing things like this
Sure.
locally.
Look, if I may just,
And that's crazy, but that
I
is,
read,
a lot of it is whilst the,
I
works
read down what I wrote to Jeff Hill, if I may.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, could you, whilst work on the roundabout is ongoing, most of the traffic from Stroud Farm area, Springfield Park, Naysgarth is coming out via the Green Ascot Road. But worse is when it all returns to Slip Road, the Green off the Ascot Road past is used extensively for this purpose, and not just light traffic, cars and vans, trucks, all and sundry, and at speed without due care and attention.
crazy.
My neighbour who lives in Garth Cottage in the Ascot Road can look across the Slip Road. The other evening at 50 minutes, she counted over 100 vehicles, which is a huge amount. The road should be closed off at least for the duration of the roundabout work. It is dangerous, and there are several near misses by the memorial where Holyport Street emerges. The road in question is really no more than a small access road that has been used more and more in recent times. A rare breed goose was hit and killed by a speeding van, which has really upset residents. We really need to get something done here as a matter of urgency. What can you suggest? He wrote back to say, he's passed it to Tim Godbeck at Highways. Can you review the request below and report back? Well, sometimes less than nothing happens.
And Tim, actually, I spoke to him this morning. He's been off sick for a while. He's back in the office now. If you don't hear Bob, let me know and
Okay.
I'll follow up. But that's really good. So on the police side, these operational police people that have got these guns and such, should I get them to contact you, Lorraine?
Yes,
This area.
Yeah.
Well, this, the area around
Yes,
Green.
yeah, happy to.
Because I think if they can work in conjunction with you,
Yes.
they've all been trained, and if you've got a new group, it might be
Yes.
good to get you all together,
Yes.
just to show, because I know we're working on what we're doing, but maybe, with more people that
Yeah.
know how to use
And,
the equipment.
And if you could do
Yeah.
it sooner, that will galvanise the people.
We'll do that today, and I'll get in touch with them.
Yes.
Chair.
Yeah.
Just make you aware that we've got half an hour left that we've got.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So just to say, if you could do it sooner, because we've got 8 potential people.
Yes,
I want to
yeah.
let them to go off the wall.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. The only issue is Luke Jenkins, who is the person that they've hired to do a lot of the stuff. He's actually off sick. I heard from his boss this morning.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a caveat there. He arrested somebody and his ribs broken. And so it's not great. And so I'm sharing that because it was shared with me this morning. But I will do what I can to ensure that we get this done sooner rather than later. But I know community speaker is such an important part of it. So thanks everyone for the update. So let's scoot on quickly. So the SIDS, TH021, an update on the speed indicator devices. So I was saying, as we've heard from John, we had 2 stolen. We've got them back. I did ask, so it's Simone Surveys who actually installed them and put them on in situ. And I did ask them to give us photographs of them. I don't know if those have been shared with the
No,
office.
because I've been aware that they've been put
Yeah.
on. So.
So they have been put up, so they've gone on the Ascot Road because I went to the Ascot Road and I looked at where they could go. The issue is we're limited by street furniture because they have to be attached on a certain height, on certain posts. They can't go on television.
Because it's a rural road.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
built up.
yeah, exactly. But where they've gone, there's one at Herne Drive and there's one, I wanted one at, I can't remember the name, Philly something, Phillips, coming the other way. Yeah, they couldn't put one there because it was too low, the post I suggested, because I've gone back and forwards trying to find it. So, but they have put them up on Friday.
It's about the post on the village green.
Yeah, they put one, so they are on there. There's one on.
That's the main one.
On
Yes.
facing the road to.
The lamp post by Crestwood's actually.
So it may be there. So have a look.
It's much better on that
That's
main stretch, if it's on that straight, which is on the.
That's
one
where I
lamp
wanted
post.
them. Yeah, if there is a lamp
And
post,
it's
that
there's
just
an lamp post there, it's opposite, it's halfway on the green on the Ascot
Yeah.
Road.
If you go down and do what, 3 words or
I've got my
something.
post, all the lamp posts, I
Yeah.
did a survey for
Yeah.
still lamp posts.
You know, you've got that.
I've got a
Yeah,
lamp
so
post.
I went up and down the lamp post and they put them up there. So again, these are the SIDs that can go into stealth mode. So they're there. So they may look like they're not working, but they are taking data.
Mhm.
Then we can put them on saying with smiley faces or unhappy faces.
Yeah.
So see what happens there, data. Then we can put them back in stealth mode again, get the data to see if they have made any difference. So these are the smart SIDs
Yeah,
that we
because
ordered.
the hand drive doesn't always work, because you've got the double bends, but that.
Yeah, so
that
check where
does.
they are, because they went up on Friday, so, and I just wanna make sure that they're doing right, and again, these are mobile, so they can go Deadworth, they can go Bray, they can go wherever, so it's just wherever we think are hotspots, but as I say, we're limited by the street furniture where they can actually go up, so. But I'll chase that we've got the serial numbers and everything, just in case.
Apologies, Suzanne, when did they go up?
Friday.
Friday, so that ties in with an accident on Friday
Oh, really?
at the T-junction.
George.
Yes,
Okay.
there was an accident a Friday evening, about 9 o'clock-ish, 8 o'clock-ish, 9 o'clock-ish. So, so that, in theory,
Yeah.
It's been on that.
Yes,
Yes, it
but
was.
have you got any intel about where they should go, where you
Yeah.
think there's better places? As I say, we're limited as to where they can go. And again, on your roads as well around here, we can move them around. So again, they're pretty smart as to what they can record. And again, it's another data point that we can use when we take this forward to say, actually, guys, there's a problem here, people are speeding, and here's empirical data to show that. So I know we're running out of time.
I just asked, did you say they can record the type of vehicle as well?
Yeah, they record the
So
index
it's like useful for lorry watch.
Yes, exactly. They're any speeding vehicle, big, small, anything. Yeah.
Just ask me the company, and I'll give you their place.
I could
Yes.
guess them.
Okay, so shall I move on? Because I know, sorry, we're running out of time, but it's just been a valuable conversation. So 22 is the air quality updates. So I know we're talking budget, we want to continue with air quality. As I say to committee members, if you think there's other places where we should put the tubes or places where they are and they shouldn't be, or there's no point, let us know because we can remove them.
so a very quick request, apologies. I'd like one by the War Memorial at the end of Hollyport Street on that junction,
Yeah.
because I think that air quality must be pretty bad. Hollyport Street used to be on it, but for some reason it got taken off. Yeah,
One of the lamp posts at home drive, I think, goes much slower still.
Yeah.
What happens to that? What's the process?
Well,
for that
the
information?
tubes they go down to Ashley, where I used to go to this doctor, Ashley, I can't remember his surname, at Kent University. So it's all done by independent third party sort of professors. This is all done properly. They analyse the data. They then send back reports, because we do an annual report from them as well. The last annual report was around this time last year, where because the nitrous oxide levels, nitrogen dioxide levels, typically are measured over an annual basis or mean over a period of 12 months. So the 12-month annual report are pretty important, because the World Health Organization have got one measure,
Well,
then
that's-
10
yeah.
micrograms per metre squared, and then the government have got 40 micrograms per metre squared. Again, it's really important when we've got planning applications coming through, current, situation where we know there's going to be another X number of houses, with cars, we know it's going to go up. So it's really important for all sorts of aspects that we
The information doesn't seem to be used or have any effect
Still
to
pushing it,
stop and restrict developments, is it? This still goes on irrespective.
but
This is,
it's not a reason to stop monitoring it.
No,
I think we should
no.
carry on monitoring it.
just
because
need
then
to
we'll
press
see
the results. that's
Yeah, no, absolutely. So,
is that the case to put one around the War?
well, could we take a look at that?
Well, I think
Where
what
they
Nick
are.
was, I thought it was going to suggest to us that probably we all need to have a look at the list of all of them
Yes, yeah,
against and see which ones really aren't bolstering our case, really planning applications.
it's on the website.
On the
It's on the
website.
Because
website.
there may well be
There's
some
13 of them.
ones we could take off.
Yeah, there's 13 of them at the moment. As we say, put Harvard Hill on relatively recently.
Yes.
Border
And I
development.
think that's important.
Yeah, Yeah, you're right, Nick. Let's all take an action and review the list.
Yeah.
Where's the list?
It's on the website. If you look on air, if you go to Bray Parish Council and search air quality,
Is that up to date?
I don't think it's up to date, sadly. So we, as I say, we're due an annual report from Kent University. So I don't know if you can action that.
Oh, well, as soon as the report comes in, we'll share it with the councillors.
Have we
But in
requested
terms
the
of,
annual report from
do we
them?
need to request it?
I believe we should ask them for the
We'll check with the
report.
clerk.
I would, yeah,
So don't we get monthly data anyway from them?
we should get data from
Yeah.
them, but I haven't seen an up-to-date report. The report I had was on there was mislabeled incorrectly. It said 2023 and it was 2024. So I think we need to look at the air quality reports just to make sure they're accurate. But yeah, I think we should look at, and again, I don't know if there's any places around this area, looking at air quality.
Well, it's certainly the worst places where Nick lives.
Yes, yeah,
And
that
that
is-
is, need to stop it.
Yes,
building
yeah.
all the houses, but,
yeah.
and that is going to get considerably worse
Yeah.
now we started building, so.
You know,
Have we got, we've got one there, then, haven't we?
Yeah, we have got one there.
Yeah.
yeah. So I think we take an action to look at them, because if we maybe keep it to 13, then we keep the budget as it is and maybe move one or two around to places like the Memorial and Holyport, for example, then we could do that.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay, so do you want to make that as an actual?
yeah, it's an action, yeah. Well, we're all happy to take that action, that we'll review the list
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the website.
Yeah.
We'll come back, because I know, yeah,
It's on this.
You're looking at it now.
Well, we get to
Let's
it.
see.
But if we were to want to change those, would we not have to vote on the locations, et cetera, and do that?
Yeah, we do
So
the
we
next
could do it.
Yes, yeah.
So for the vote.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so we'll take that action to go away and do that and report back at the next meeting. I'll do that. Okay. W line extension on Tide Barn Drive. So you read through Ken's request for that.
Yeah.
So what's the action on that, John?
Doesn't.
Well, for Ken to take action and go and advise us on. Isn't that the problem?
Do the numbers.
It sounds like a survey went out for not all of the large houses or something, so.
Yeah, I think what happens, the numbers got all skewed for some reason the last time they did it. Right, so. 1 minute.
Just come to the.
I've got it here. Sometime you mentioned blah, blah, blah. Last attempt, W lines failed due to lack of responses, well, because it didn't go to the right houses. Realised that the postcode mine was.
So basically, you're happy for Ken to follow up, councillor Irwin to take.
Yeah, I mean, I've got other
Right.
issues in Ties Barn Drive, but you know, if you told me about this, I could have added them all together because I've got other issues in Ties Barn. So can we take this one offline? Because I don't want us all doing things piecemeal. You know, and if I'd known about this was going on, then I could have, you know, added it all together. But I think we need to maybe have a concerted effort on Ties Barn Drive, because some residents are saying they wish the W lines weren't there. And it looks like he's asking for more W lines, if I'm reading his email correctly. So given the time, I'll message Ken and ask what he would like to do. And then I'll because I've got a couple of residents I'm talking to already on Ties Barn Drive about some parking restrictions. And then we can hopefully add it all together and come up with a concerted plan rather than do this piecemeal. So I'll send a message to Ken about this. I'll copy you in, John, so you're aware of the conversation, if that's okay, because Ken's not here. So the missing link on the Holyport Road, again, I've already got an action. I've worked with Councillor Hill on this, and we've already got a plan underway to try and extend that 30 mile an hour. I did ask Ken to get involved in Community Speedwatch to try and get some data back in December, and I sadly didn't get a reply on that. So I've just, as a borough councillor, I've just taken this forward and ready.
Yeah.
So I've already spoke to him. He's got somebody in the highways team already looking at this, and we're looking to see if we can extend that 30 miles an hour from the Holyport roundabout to the Bray roundabout. So that's an action that's already underway. On All right, so let's get moving on because I know, Angela's here, so TH025, so A330 Ascot Road, speeding concerns. Okay, Angela, I want
We've
to,
actually covered a lot.
we've covered a lot of
So I think the majority of that's been covered.
Yeah.
And there you've actually made some action points.
Yeah.
So with those in place, we can do it. Obviously, I will give you the other lamppost. Because that's in a prime position
Okay.
and then it's on the slightly straighter part. That's where they normally put the speed rumbles when they do it there as well.
Yeah,
So I think I've been able to do all of that and tick those boxes.
excellent.
We've talked about the slip road,
Yeah.
which, I mean, I know you said about a duck or a goose.
It's gonna be
That
person.
could have been a person. And so easily a dog.
Yeah.
And now we've got the better weather.
I know.
And the other thing there is that slip road, because that's all it is a little slip road, is used for walkers parking because we have such fantastic walks in Hollyport. So it could also be a person,
Yeah, no, I agree.
and that's what they mean. So I believe
Yeah.
the action's taken place
Yeah.
on that now, so that's good. And the only other areas you all know I deal with is the lorries,
Yeah,
but that can be another time.
yeah. I mean, because Luke was working on it, so as I say, he's the Maidenhead South chap that unfortunately is off sick for a little while now, but they did some lorry watches and they stopped the lorry in Bray actually that's coming through this way. So they've actually actioned a lot of work as I've gone back following our meetings and meetings here, saying this is still a problem. So there was a lorry that was intercepted. Now he has said because of unauthorised HGVs and large vehicles, he says it's essential that appropriately trained officers deal with them because they need to be weighed correctly and it's only the police officers that can stop them. That's part of the challenge, as you know, Angela, we have that, we need to find the police officers, the right places because they need distances to stop them. It's a big effort. They only do, I think, 2 a year because of the resources needed to do these. But they are listening and they did one and they stopped an unauthorised vehicle that was actually they got arrested.
They wouldn't be able to stop them, they're going too fast. I'm not saying that foolishly,
Yeah.
but I have data on all the main culprits. It's a 7.5 ton restriction that was put in place. It was put in place back in December 2015. There was a lot of work done that mainly by a neighbour.
Yes, yeah.
And I've got all the data on that. But since then, time's moved on.
Yeah.
And if they are going to allow the lorries, and there are other ways that we can let them know. But I think we also have to understand, which is like the speeding and the number of vehicles that come through, is we can't control sat-nav.
I know.
So we can't control sat-nav. Sat-nav sees an A road, whether it's the A1 or
You can write
whether
to
it's
stats
something else.
companies as I have done and inform them of Monkey Island Lane that has a barrier by.
There isn't much.
Yeah, so you can write that to them, you can control.
There is an easier way. We declassify the road.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to ask about the mayor,
Yes,
in Hollyport Road, there's a little yellow 30-mile-an-hour sign reminder. I also asked Jeff Hill if the white lines through the Ascot Road could be, and also on the road is 30-mile-an-hour speed sign, which, they've all faded as the various white lines. But those, once we get the speed indicator, great. But those little yellow signs on the road, they're quite effective, I think. It's just to remind me, but again.
white lines, you could have reported to RBWM, I've done it quite a few times, and they do come and put the white, if it's a safety issue, they do come
I
and
can second that.
paint them, yeah.
Across
I
the
would
green,
say
across the green, there's nothing
It's-
now.
If you're going to redo that on the Ascot Road, you would have to close the road. Because the last lot of little potholes that they tried to do,
Yeah.
we actually watched the contractors play chicken with the truck and the vehicles. And
Right.
I think if anything else like that does come out, could they be aware that all those contractors are likely to get killed?
Okay. Well, let's move ahead with these actions.
But you've
Angela.
got-
We'll
you've
keep
got
in
time
touch.
again,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's great that we.
I should come back to you in.
No, absolutely, because that's the only way, to keep the momentum going on this. Like, to keep it forward, so that's a good update. one thing I was going to say actually about Hollywood before we move on from that. So the other thing about the Booper Lodge, if you know that, well, that little slip road, the green, as we know.
Yes.
Yeah, the little slip road, the green, whatever it's called. I had lots of reports of people going down there illegally and taking a right-hand turn. So again, I've asked for so there's the mobile ground cameras at the Royal Borough, and I did ask you, and I've asked a number of times for it to be relocated there. That's on their list now. Again, budget constraints, yada, 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 but they say that it's within the criteria to actually go there to repeat. So, because again, I've had a number of emails about that as well. I didn't want to forget that much, but people, because I think they feel committed, they've already gone down the road the wrong way, then they see the no, it's not, oh, I'll keep going.
It's not,
I've seen it,
it's not the reason. The reason is because you've got all the traffic.
Yeah,
the
the
road works.
yeah.
It comes down from the church, it goes all the way back down to the
Can't be
junction,
bothered to
and they can't be bothered to wait, so they come down.
To contradict that slightly, because I tend to go when it's not so busy, I've also seen
Oh, yeah, they do.
delivery lorries going down there deliberately, other cars coming down there,
Yeah.
and, they're sort of saying,
Yeah.
my
Well,
way.
I'll try and get that in the camera there, so
Yeah.
it's on the list.
Yeah.
I can't promise it tomorrow, but it's.
Oh, no. I have also unfortunately got photographs of the police doing it, so.
Yes, yeah, but I sent that to the police, there
Yes.
could be on blue lights, and yeah, that's another story,
Yes.
so I've already got the text about that, I've seen the photos, I've sent them on, I've had a conversation. Right, so TH026, we receive an update on Hibbert Road. So this is Hibbert Road, in Bray, this is where I hand delivered all of the letters around to the residents to see what we could do, because there was lots of issues with parking on that road. It's opposite Braywick Court School, it's opposite the Nature Reserve, it's by Braywick Sports Centre where the parking is quite expensive. So there was a big issue there. So essentially we've got WL lines along that road there, and we've got no pathway by the school, so that's all been put in. We've got parking bays, and again, the residents were resurveyed by the parking enforcement manager of the borough. And I spoke to a resident this morning, I was down there this morning, and he's really delighted what's happened. So there's going to be 4 bays that need to be finally marked out, but the signs are there for residents parking only, and 2 free parking bays. And he's saying it's really helping because people are not then parking there. So I've got an action to go back just to make sure the work's finished off. But again, it's a good outcome there on Hibbert Road. And again, it's just showing that using the right processes to go forward, to put in place things that help the residents, the parking can happen. So again, that's a positive thing. Was there anything else you wanted me to cover on Hibbert Road?
No, I don't believe so. No, it's those parking places.
Okay.
It's just
So
tidying that up.
yeah, so that's done. So I'll just follow up on that last point. The Willow safety barrier, so Nick.
Okay, well, the borough, having originally said they were going to put this metal barrier up, it's backed off. And I think it's probably lack of budget or lack of this anyway, as far as I can understand, nothing happening.
Right, so what's the action on it?
Well, the residents didn't want a hard barrier, they wanted an organic barrier.
Is it still
Sorry?
Is it still a problem?
Well, the real problem was the cars all parking on that bit. And they were jinking, missing around about, jinking onto the 308 there. And all those cars were basically vans and things from the works. But I don't know how much of that's finished now and how much of it's still a problem, but I'll communicate with the residents and find out what that. Because the original idea was they were going to put some tubs.
Yeah, exactly.
And I did ask whether the parish council would put some money up to help them buy some tubs or something, but they could probably buy some tubs.
Yeah, it's the whole maintenance of them all going forward, if everyone leaves or moves.
Low barrier.
Well, if they had 3 big tubs, because there's actually an official crossing there as well.
So do you want to check with the residents, Nick?
Sorry?
Do you want to check the residents and come back to the next meeting with them?
I'll check and officially,
If there's a.
but I think it's basically closed.
Yeah,
as an
okay.
action.
Would you want us to close it off then, Nick, or?
Well, I'll
We can reopen
formally get feedback
Yeah.
as to what the residents
That would
plan to do.
Yeah, that would be useful. Yeah, because I know there was a lot of work done on that. Okay, brilliant. So we were doing councillors forum because it was missed off the list. So any update?
Well, I have a few things about that.
Yeah.
So one of the 308, AL 21 south, north was this road crossing on the 308,
Right.
if you remember, which we felt was going to be a disaster for several reasons, not the least air quality in that sort of dip bit is going to cars be stopped. And obviously traffic flow and everything, we've been arguing hard that they should do a bridge. Anyway, I wanted to know whether there's been any update on a crossing point on the 308 at that sort of, it's about what, 200 yards back towards Maidenhead from the Squire's roundabout. So that's one thing.
But anything like that would be in on the planning portal, I
Yeah,
would
big
imagine,
nations,
it'd be on the highways reports and.
Well, because there's a lot of work being done. The other, I mean, this isn't exactly traffic, but as you've seen, there's horrible metal barriers all the way around the AL 21 south thing. Pat Morris is complaining bitterly that there's going to be a fence put up between the Cardinal Clinic and and that hasn't been done. I did forward a note to you, John.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you were able to forward anything on to anybody or.
No. I mean, that's down to enforcement, isn't it? So if you've not agreed, if something's been agreed in the planning terms and conditions, then they need to approach planning enforcement about this and ask the question, why is
Okay,
it?
so have you fed that back to me or?
You only sent me that last week. I've been doing about 6 different things.
Okay.
I have sent you an email saying that's what needs to
But
happen.
it's planning enforcement is what we need to do. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's that one. Lorry watch, I photographed another lorry as I was coming today.
Right.
What are we doing with lorries that we spot that are?
I report it to the police if you, the issue is with the 7.5 ton everywhere. And the police are the only people that can stop them if they're legitimately dropping something off at an organisation within the parish, then they legitimately need to be there. That's part of the issue. And that's why I said before, the police are the only people that can enforce this and, that can stop these heavy vehicles in the street. And that's no easy mean feat for them just to rock up and do it. As Angela says, they're travelling at speed, they need to have concerted lorry watch sessions set up. It's a challenging situation, but I'd say report back to, Luke's, as I say, is off sick, but to maybe Matt, the PCSO.
Okay, I'll get the email address from you.
Yeah,
after the meeting.
yeah.
Okay, the other thing, I noted down, they cut what looks like all the trees down around the 21 site.
Yes, there's a big argument.
Yeah, well, John sent it to the community one. Can we do anything about that?
Again, it's planning enforcement, isn't it? So you have to write.
We can't put them back, can they? I mean, it's just appalling.
No, but it's about what they're willing to take. They take the fine.
That's a planning.
Builders just clear everything.
Well, so it's one thing I said to Lorraine the other day, we were just chatting, was that, I know we've had the issue at Tech Point Place, or however you pronounce it, with the trees coming down there. And I know some of the residents have been very upset about that, and for me especially. If there are trees, note in the parish, tell the tree officer at the Royal Borough, and if they can put TPOs on them, they'll put the TPOs on them. We can't, like to your point, Bob, we can't do it after the effect. Once it's gone, it's gone. And only local residents will say, if there's a tree there, note. Let's just write to the tree officer at the borough and say there's a tree here, what 3 words, exact location. And then if it's a tree of note, then they will put a TPO on it. And then if there is a development, then it'll have a TPO on. So I think it's down to us all and residents alike, for us to just keep an eye out on these because, I hate seeing trees come down. But, if they're trees that can easily be replaced, look, which it can be, but yeah, that's absolutely. But, let's try and be ahead of the game rather than the planning is not traffic, but I get the point.
Okay, the other thing I've got down was the electric car charging.
Right.
Which, John, you were chasing up the borough about grants.
Yeah, they were going to, Tim wrote back, didn't he, saying that they were going through a process, and once they've been through that process, then they'll be looking at the different grants that are available, and they'll let us know, and we can have that
That's
conversation.
still waiting to be
We're
learned.
still, well, Tim's been up.
Sorry?
Was there anyone in particular? Was
Well, yeah, it was in our car parks and also here.
This is private land.
Yeah.
No, well, Julie was quite keen, as the whole committee here, so we've been on, and potentially the Hollyport committee, the Hollyport board committee
yeah.
to have a thing. If we get a system established, then the sort of public bodies that have car parks could have a charge point.
Yeah.
It would be useful for those of us who have electric cars.
Yeah.
Sorry.
As a trustee of this hall, we have a meeting tonight, in fact, and on the agenda is talking about public charging point.
Oh, okay.
And we do want to look into having charging points in this car park. It's nice of the car park, it's rather restrictive, however, but it is something that we.
Well, we
if there are
want to
lots of
adhere with what the parish council doing, so if we leave, we can let you know.
Yeah, absolutely. We can work together.
That point.
Can I just make a few minutes? Yes. Sorry, so I know Angela's done it already, but should we note down the names and this, you've got a photograph there, if it's got a name on the side of it, contact.
Who's the
We can
company?
contact the company, right, I mean, there's always the same ones that come through. We can contact the company and say, please note, this is 7.5 ton round here. It's just a suggestion, I know.
I don't often see to transport managers, and they don't know in some sense that
Yeah, I mean,
legitimate
it's a
reason, but
challenging
It's
one.
just-
We could go back to this. We can ask the police. I mean, I'm going to get the police surgeries here and in Hollywood, so maybe it's something we can ask them, because again, they've been very clear that it's a police matter, that they should be doing this. So I think we should ask them for their advice and guidance as to how to
So
do
can
it.
we have a Hollywood surgery, then to cover off all these and also?
Yeah, I'm just waiting on some dates from that to do that important here in Whitefield, because
Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So anything else on the council? Thanks, Nick. Anything else on the council? I know we're right on the time, aren't we?
Yeah.
There's 1 minute to go. I think that's it. So date of next
To be
meeting.
confirmed,
To be
we need to get a,
TBC. Yeah,
we need to have a change of, committees and things, don't we?
yes, that's true. Great, thanks everyone for coming. Thanks for the productive meeting. I appreciate it. I appreciate your openness and all the work we're doing. And so